Hi everyone! I cannot believe I'm actually making this video because I didn't think about it until this morning, and then I thought, well actually that's a little bit of interesting information for people, let me just talk about it. For those people, I'm gonna have to try and explain this to people that aren't Indian, that won't understand what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna have to kind of keep translating stuff that I'm saying. So today is the first day of Navratri, and for those people that don't know what that is, it's an Indian festival that goes on for 9 days. So it starts today and it will finish, I think, about the 3rd of October. And the reason that Indians celebrate Navratri is because it's a celebration of, I'm going to say it really basically because this is the way that I've always been taught, that it's like the mother of the gods. It's like a celebration of the mother of the gods. So the reason that this celebration goes on for 9 days is because this mother god has, I would say, like 3 different forms. So the first form she has is just getting rid of bad spirits. The second form she has is to give wealth and prosperity, and the third form of this god is kind of imparting wisdom on people as well. So this celebration goes on for 9 days, and what happens in these 9 days is some people will fast. It depends on your family and how you are and how into it you get, really, but you kind of do a little bit of fasting, and then in the evening there's like a dance celebration where you go to a hall and everybody dresses up and you have these specific dances that you do, which is called garba. And I haven't actually been for maybe 10 years, and this is going to sound really bad, but this is why I'm making this video, to explain exactly why I haven't been for 10 years. So when I was younger, I used to go to garba quite regularly. Like, I used to really enjoy it. I used to get really into the dancing and I had the best time ever. Used to go with my friends, used to go with my mum and dad, and it was just really, really fun. And because it's almost like a social gathering, I am going to explain why I haven't been. The reason I'm making this video is because planetparle keeps putting these videos up of garba, and then I feel really guilty that I haven't gone. And this is the reason that I'm making this video, because I actually feel really bad. Sometimes when this garba happens, so this is like the evening bit where everyone does the dance, and there's like specific dances and different prayers that we sing. Every time this specific prayer comes on, some people get possessed. Okay, I shouldn't say possessed because it's not a bad thing that happens. Some people say that the spirit of this god goes inside them and they go a little bit, they just change a little bit. The last time I went, and this is the reason that was the last time I went. So what happened was, we were doing the dancing and then they sat down to do this prayer. And in the middle of this prayer, these 3 people got up and started doing some dancing in the middle. But it was a little bit crazy dancing. It wasn't the kind of dancing they were doing beforehand. And I kind of nudged my mum and I was like, what is going on with these people? Why are they doing crazy dancing? And she's like, they're getting Mataji. So Mataji basically means the god, it's like the spirit of God goes inside them. And they are temporarily, during this prayer, in a little bit of a trance. And my mum goes, at this time, what people do is, because they get really excited that there's a presence of God in somebody, people go up to them and they actually pray, and they get a blessing from them, which would be fine, but they were doing some really scary stuff. The first guy was in his 20s, and I swear, I watched him throughout the whole prayer, and he was dancing and I was watching him. He did not blink for 5 minutes. He did not blink for an entire 5 minutes. He was staring, and I was watching his eyes the whole time, and he did not blink. And I don't think that's normal. So I was absolutely terrified. The next thing he did, and everybody else has got their head down and they're praying, and I'm just looking up at these people and I'm absolutely mortified. And then I see him bending down on the floor and bashing his head on the floor. Nobody blinked an eyelid. Nobody got up. Nobody stopped him. Nobody did anything. And I was just like, this guy's hurting himself. He must be in pain, and nobody's stopping him. And I was absolutely terrified. And then this old lady got up from the back, and she must have been in her 70s. And she got up and started doing this really scary dancing. And she, again, looked completely possessed. I don't want to use the word possessed because it doesn't sound good, but everyone was excited about it and everyone was getting all like, oh look, they're getting mataji, they're, you know, they're the spirits inside them. But I just thought it was scary because they weren't blinking, they were doing some crazy dancing, and one guy was actually physically bashing his head on the floor and nobody stopped him. And then as soon as the prayer finished, they sat down and they don't remember anything. They couldn't remember what they had just done. And one of the girls, she had it as well, and she got up in the middle of this prayer and she was making some weird noise like in the middle of where everyone was dancing, and I couldn't stop looking because I'd never seen anything like this before. My mum said I'd seen it when I was younger, but I didn't really know what it was. But this time, like, I asked loads of questions about it and I was like, what is going on? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? She goes, the spirit's inside them and that's why they get into this like little trance. I then burst out crying. This is like some sort of horror film. I've never seen it like that before. Like, I normally see people just getting overexcited like while they're dancing, but I've never seen this whole like, I'm gonna stare you out and I'm not gonna blink for 5 minutes and I'm gonna keep bashing my head on the floor. And I was absolutely terrified for this guy because about an hour before he was serving everybody like drinks. He doesn't have a clue, like he doesn't know what just happened to him, and that absolutely mortified me. I sat there during the prayer crying my eyes out. I was with my neighbour and I was with my mum's friend and her daughter, and everyone's like, why is Trisha crying? And I was like, I'm terrified, I don't want to go home. So I literally cried the whole way home because I was so scared, and no one else was fazed by it. Everyone else just carried on. And this is when I went to Hayes. I shouldn't like say specific places, but that's the only time I've ever seen it like that. Like, I've seen it happen, but I've never been scared before, and I was absolutely traumatized. So for the last 10 years, I have not been back to garba. I haven't done any dancing, I've not sat in any prayers. Came home and I told my dad the story, and he is a really skeptical person. So he just said, oh, people just do that for attention. And I was like, Dad, there is no way you cannot blink for 5 minutes just for attention. There's no way you can bash your head on the floor like that and do that and then suddenly have no recollection of what's just happened to you. You hear about, you know, people getting possessed, you watch films like The Exorcist, and I know it's meant to be like a good spirit inside you, but then why is everybody getting hurt? Like, I just didn't understand. Like, I was so confused. So I've never seen anything like that before. I'd seen it obviously when I was younger and I just thought, oh look, that person's getting a little bit crazy during the prayer. But this time it made me cry my eyes out, and my mum was like, you're terrified, aren't you? And I was like, yes, can we please go home now? Like, I've seen enough. I don't want to see this boy bashing his head on the floor. And they say that it happens to people that are really, really, really like good-hearted, like really, really pure, good people, that God wants to come inside them and like, you know, take over their body. And I understand that, but I was just absolutely terrified, and I have not been back to garba since. And I'm too scared to go. Like, honestly, I'm too scared to go. I would love to go. So if anyone wants to hold my hand and take me, like, I'm quite happy to come, but I just am too scared to go back there again. I think I will just stay at home and just not go. My mum's like, genuinely, they have no recollection of what's just happened to them, which is why nobody stops them. And I'm like, surely the bruise on his head afterwards is going to tell him something happened to him. But anyway, that is the reason I don't go to garba, and we do like the prayers and stuff that we need to do at home. Yeah, so that is the story of why I'm too scared to celebrate Navratri and go to garba anymore, which I used to enjoy doing when I was younger. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have an amazing Navratri. Have an amazing like 9 days of celebrating, and then Diwali tends to happen I think 20 days after that's finished. So I will celebrate Diwali, give presents, see my family, see my friends, like all that kind of stuff, and it will be like amazing. But I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you like if you managed to stay until the end of this video, especially if you're not Indian and you don't know what I'm talking about. But thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so sorry that my cupboard is like open. Is it going to bother you? Let me just go and close it. It doesn't close because there's loads of clothes on the floor.